It's Wednesday. It's day 15 of the Karen Read trial, and it's May 14th. We were supposed to do day 15 yesterday on May 13th, but there was a unexpected court cancellation. Lots of media reports were that Karen Read was feeling unwell, and that's why there was no court. That's not unusual. If one of the key participants in a case is unwell, they can't go forward without the defendant. It does happen. And when she was going into court this morning, reporters asked her if she was feeling better.
Karen, are you feeling better today?
It seems that all of that reporting is accurate and that is why there was no court yesterday.
This innuendo here, that you guys have really been going at it. This was sort of had like a last date element to it. Was that going on?
That was not going on. John made it clear to me, I'm never breaking up with you. Not never that we're in this good or bad, but you're the best person I've ever.
The Commonwealth would ask to show clip 19.
Okay.
I don't think, I don't see how John would have known about my text with Brian. And I'm not sure if he knew he would have reacted very strongly. I think we would have broken up, but I don't think John would have lost it and caused a fight. I didn't feel like John's emotions with me got really strong.
It is lunchtime on day 15, the day that was supposed to be yesterday, but time, well, is a bit wibbly wobbly, and it's trial, and trials are dynamic. As we got underway today, we got through quite a lot of witnesses for the Commonwealth. The very first thing that the Commonwealth did was put 2 clips. They were very hard to hear streamed. The volume, I don't know if it was not turned up all the way in court. Other days, the clips have been pretty easy to hear. Today, not so much. But they put in 2 clips of Karen Read, and then they went to the testimony of John O'Keefe's niece. That was not broadcast, though reporters were present in the courtroom. Then they went through scientific witnesses. Witness 26 for the Commonwealth was Trooper Zachary Clark from Mass State Police, who brought in photos and laid the foundation for those of the SUV and the SUV testing. Trooper Evan Brent, who brought in photos of John O'Keefe's Chevy Traverse at One Meadows Avenue, taken early on in February, I think February 3rd. Sergeant Brian Gallerani from Needham PD, who came in and took swabs for DNA testing from Sergeant Bukhenik and Trooper Proctor, Mr. Proctor, because those were then submitted for DNA testing. And now we are on the testimony of Maureen Hartnett from the State Police Crime Lab, who did the processing of Karen Read's SUV. So we are getting into the photos and the processing of Karen Read's SUV. First, the documenting, that's what we're doing now. The documenting of Karen Read's SUV, what was there, what was collected, glass pieces or apparent glass pieces on the bumper, apparent scratches and dents on the SUV, and the one hair that is on the side of the SUV that was collected and sent out to test. Will we hear the results of those testing today? I don't know if we'll get there today. I think we're going to spend quite a bit of time with the witness who processed the SUV. We've also heard defense attorney Alessi objecting, so we will see cross-examination with him, which he does a lot of the scientific testimony. This is important foundation, and the scientific foundation that's being laid here is going to be necessary for the reconstructionists from both the Commonwealth and from the defense. When will we get to the Commonwealth's accident reconstructionist? I don't know. Will the Commonwealth put in their medical experts before accident reconstruction? I don't know. Are we going to get into other civilian witnesses today? We will have to see, but right now it seems that we are going to go through all of the foundational evidence about Karen Read's SUV. I wonder if the next witnesses will either include the testing of all the things, the apparent glass, the manual puzzling of the housing of the taillight, if we will get to the DNA testing and the testing for blood at all on the taillight and the rest of it today or in the next witnesses before we get to accident reconstruction. But it seems that medical, accident reconstruction, and the rest is all going to wait until we get through all of this testimony.
On February 1st, in addition to taking some swabs from the vehicle, you also mentioned that you took swabs of, as I would call it, frozen red-brown stains located inside the red Solo cups?
Yes, that's correct.
Other than in this case,
Girl.
did you ever have to take swabs of red stain material from Solo cups that people usually use for other purposes?
I've never performed a collection like that, no.
So this is the first time you ever performed a collection like that, correct?
I mean, the collection process itself is standard, applying the sterile water to the swabs and putting it in a potential stain of interest. However, no, I've never collected a sample from a red Solo cup before.
Have you ever taken a sample?
She's like, I did my shit the way we do our shit. Like, but not that.
How many swabs did you take?
This is what
with
I want to hear
regard
more
to
about.
the red Solo cups.
I took 2 swabs.
From 1 cup? I know. The fact that
How did
Alessi
you
didn't say that
choose
people
which
play
of
beer
the 6
pong
Solo
with is.
cups that you were going to take? And I understand you took 2. Did you take 2 swabs?
2 swabs, but they were considered the same sample. They were taken from the same cup, same stain.
That was what I wanted to get at.
swabs?
Is you took 2
1
swabs,
cup?
but they were from the same Solo cup.
That's correct.
I'll see myself out.
Do you recall discussing the collection, the observations you made with regard to the rear bumper?
I'm sorry, can you ask that question again, please?
On direct examination, you talked about glass on the rear bumper, correct?
Yes, apparent
You
glass.
talked about what you observed, you talked about what you put a sticker on, you talked about what you collected, you talked about the transport of it, correct?
That is correct.
And you put it in your notes, and you talked about it on direct examination, I assume because it was an important part of the work that you did.
Yes, it was a piece of evidence that I collected, correct.
And therefore, it's important for you to have made correct observations and to make correct collection, correct?
Correct.
With Your Honor's permission, if we could publish Exhibit 133. Okay. If I could have a moment with Mr. Woke just to do this efficiently, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. The defense is going to talk to their tech guy who's on the little tiny desk taking care of all of their things, who for the first part of trial, it sounded like Mr. Wolf, like there were multiples, but I think it's W-O-L-K. And I'm going to fast forward as Alessi is doing that.
You could zoom in.
We are putting up Exhibit 133.
The stickers, right? So, Ms. Hartnett, on your direct examination, you stated that there were 2 stickers and that there were therefore glass associated with each sticker, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So, 2 stickers and glass associated with each sticker, correct?
Yes, correct.
In fact, there's only 1 sticker, and the second sticker is merely a reflection of the first sticker, and therefore, you have doubled the stickers and you've doubled the amount of glass on the bumper. Can you see that? Can you determine that from the photo?
No, can I see the other photo, please?
Yes.
Okay.
So if we could, Your Honor, with your permission, go to Exhibit 130.
Is it a reflection? Let's continue on with Alessi.
33.
Okay.
Chat, if all of you are saying, I thought it looked weird on direct because wouldn't the sticker on the tailgate be flat and not horizontal?
You asked to see this one. Can you now make a determination, having seen both of them, whether there is in fact just 1 sticker and therefore 1 volume of glass associated with it?
No, I cannot.
Really?
You're saying this is a reflection?
Can you hand her the photo?
I can't testify,
Okay.
so I'm asking you.
He's asking you if it is a reflection. That's what he's asking you. If it is a reflection. Ma'am, what does your report say? That's why you have a report.
With Your Honor's permission, if we could go back to the other picture,
Okay.
He wants to look at this photograph.
and if you could zoom in.
Just hand them to her.
Do you see a reverse B in that picture?
I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
Oh,
I'm sorry,
Alessi,
a
what?
reverse B as in Bob?
I'm going to fail this eye exam. This is a terrible eye exam, but I see where Alessi's going with it, and he can probably see it. Wait,
No, could you zoom in on each of the stickers for me, please?
We'll do whatever you would like to do to answer the question. So
Sure.
Alessi's like, we would like to clear this matter up.
And then if I could just see the other sticker, please.
Because if it was on the tailgate, wouldn't it be flat against the tailgate?
Yes, I believe that is a reverse B, correct?
And doesn't that mean that it's a mirror reflection and that there's only one sticker that you put on, and therefore only one volume of glass associated with one sticker?
Can you say that question again? I can't hear you.
I'm sorry.
The court reporter's like, sir, speak up.
I will stay by the microphone. Is this microphone picking up? So therefore,
Because I want to
now
see the report.
conclude, because of the reflection and because of the
Because as the Commonwealth, it's your job to know what is in the report and to ask those questions when you prep the witness. But also for the witness, it is important to know your report. And if something in the photo looks off with your report, to say, that's not what's reflected in my report. 'Cause
Microphone.
the
Is this
lawyers aren't always
microphone
right.
picking up. So therefore, can you now conclude, because of the reflection and because of the reverse B, that there is only, in actuality, and there was only in actuality,
One sticker.
sticker and one B, and therefore one volume of glass associated with this bumper?
I don't know specifically that it's a reflection. It's not unusual for me to use the same letter on a sticker if I'm going to collect the items of evidence together. So if I had written it, on top or on the bottom of the scale on one of them and on the top of the scale on the other one, that is a possibility. It's difficult for me to tell by this picture.
What's your report
What
say?
I can tell you is that all the items of glass or apparent glass that were present on the bumper were collected together. So I can't say specifically by looking at this photo whether I just label two separate areas to make the photo show the pieces better or if it is a reflection. I can't say.
Oh, look at that. It's like it's melting before our very eyes. The timestamp on this is January 29th. I'm going to try to see the time. In the first trial, they testified that they used Canton PD because it was heated. I don't know if they testified that they used Canton PD because it was heated. I think they did. The time looks like 9:27:48 p.m. And there's one piece of snow falling off of the back windshield. And then that other piece that was hanging on just starts dripping down the car. Look at that. It hit the crime scene tape and everything. Oh, look, more snow. It's like shearing. Well, I guess it did melt off. At least that answers that question. The snow does appear to be falling off of the car at 9:40 p.m. For those of you asking, no, we have not
If
seen
you could
this video
accelerate it
play
just a little bit, Mr. Wolf,
during
without
this trial.
overly accelerating all that's happening.
We have not seen this video play during this trial. We saw stills from it. We knew it existed, but we haven't seen this part of this video play. We're now at 9:57, 9:58, 10:01, 10:02. They do have it sped up though, so it makes the stuttering. 10:05, 10:07. 10:08, 10:11. I hate that this is sped up.
And accelerate it a little bit more.
Okay.
And that's good. And if you could bring, yes, thank you. If we could have the lights on and take that down, please.
Okay. What he is going to argue, or
Do
what
you
the defense
still
is going to
have a
argue,
laser
is
pointer, Ms.
how in the
Hart?
world did
Yes.
this happen?
Could you kindly use that and draw a circle around the apparent hair?
Yes.
Thank you. I'm going to refer to that as a J shape. Is that a fair description of it, or do you have a better description of it?
I see two ends of the hair in an arch, so I'm going to say more of like a C-shaped.
Okay, so you would refer to that as a C shape?
Correct.
Yes.
And would that be a reverse C? Then if it's a C shape?
In that picture, it's difficult to tell if the ends are making contact or if they're coming off the vehicle. So I'm not sure.
Whatever way you would describe it, a letter or shape, because then what I'm going to do, just, it's not a trick here, but
Yeah.
I'm just going to show you another picture of it, of that hair that might be in a different location or different shape.
Not a
So I
different
wanna give
location, not a
contrast.
different
so
shape.
Whatever term you want to use
Different
that's fair to you.
different perspective.
So isn't the 570 in each picture oriented the exact same way?
If you could just explain what you mean by oriented, I think that's where I'm confused.
They're
The angles of the
same.
photos
You
are
read
different.
570 horizontally. It's the same horizontal plane, correct? It's the same straight across, like one doesn't have the 570 upside down. You can read it from left to right, a 5, a 7, and a 0, correct?
Correct.
Thank you. Now, if we can, Mr. Woke, now zoom in and get the largest depiction of each one from a zoom in.
So what she's saying is that on one of the photos, she can't tell. If you can see my pointer on this photo, it looks to me like the bottom of the hair or the bottom of the curve is touching the car on both of them. Because when you zoom in on them, it looks like the ends are pointing up on both of them to me. That is not what the defense is arguing. So the defense is arguing that it has gone from the ends of the presumed hair touching the vehicle to the ends of the presumed hair facing away from the vehicle. To me, it looks like on both sides, the ends are pointing up from the vehicle. That's how it looks to me in the zoomed in version, but that's not the defense's argument here. It is the same thing that is collected, photographed at two slightly different angles, and that is what they are asking. The jury will have these if they want to go through this, if it is helpful to them or not. Are there big issues in this case? Yes. Is this one of them? It depends on the jury.
Are you saying the difference in how that hair appears is from a different camera angle?
Yes, that's what she's saying.
No, I'm not making that conclusion. I'm just saying I can't make any other conclusion because they're from different angles. I don't feel that I can compare the two.
Is it possible that the hair moved when someone took a photograph?
Can you answer that question?
Again, I just can't make that conclusion because I didn't take the photo and the photos look like they're from different angles.
In your experience, you've taken samples.
He wants the jury to think
many
about it, right?
times of apparent hair, correct?
Have I taken samples
Yes.
such as that? Yes, that's correct.
Has it ever happened that when you're taking a sample, the photographer or someone breathes on it and the apparent hair moves? Does that ever happen?
What?
I'll allow that.
I've never had firsthand experience with that, so that if somebody breathed on an item of evidence, that would be something I would note.
At the end of day 15, we are well into the scientific foundational testimony. So all the testimony that lays the groundwork for the crime scene and lab analysts that are going to come in and testify about DNA testing and other scientific testing, about putting the light casing back together. And all of that foundation will be used not only by both sides to argue, but also be used when we get to the accident reconstructionist for both sides. So we are moving through that testimony. And well, one would think in a retrial that that would all be fairly sequential and almost routine at this point because it is scientific testimony. You did this, you collected this, you photographed this. That is not how all of that went today, because when we got into the crime scene analyst from the crime lab who processed Karen Read's SUV at Canton PD, Maureen Hartnett, we had some moments that were a surprise, including Maureen Hartnett opening an evidence box in court and then opening a bag that had the large taillight casing, because they took the entire taillight casing out of Karen Read's SUV and showed it to the court. And then there was all kinds of just other stuff in the evidence bag. And there was a sidebar, and then there was a recess, and then there was lunch. The defense, the Commonwealth, and the witness had to get together and look at everything that was in that bag, because she said, I did not put these in the evidence bag. Now, there's probably a pretty reasonable explanation for all of that. The problem is, this is the second witness in just a few days that has gotten on the stand, and there's been like, surprise, what's in that bag? Which is not what's supposed to happen when it comes to evidence. It shouldn't be a surprise what's in the evidence bag. Why? Because it's marked and it's written on and it's sealed and you know what's in there. But nope, not today. So that was a moment. Does how that error happened matter in this case greatly? Not really. What matters is how it looks to the jury that we are again having an issue with the evidence bags. We are again having an issue with who knows where that came from. And though another witness down the road might say, yes, I took all these out at a previous proceeding and put them all back in the same bag, the impression is still made that they're not quite sure everything that's in the evidence bags, which is part of the defense's argument. And so for this witness on the stand, did this witness cause the problem? No. Is it this witness's problem? No. It's probably a problem from everything being in court last trial, then getting packed up and taken back. But somebody had to pack those evidence bags back up and seal them. But it wasn't this witness. So should they have brought in the witness who sealed these up before this witness? Maybe. But Brennan wasn't there the last trial to know how any of that was done. And so I think Brennan was just as surprised as everybody else. And was he trying to say, well, do you recognize this? Do you know that? And she's like, no. Should there be an evidence log of who brought it to court and who recovered it from court and what condition it was recovered in and where it was checked back into evidence? Yeah, there should be. Who would normally be in charge of that? Yeah, probably the lead investigator, Trooper Proctor, or at least Bukhenik. Maybe they would have sent an evidence officer to court to do it. Maybe. But generally, the lead detective, because you've got to get the evidence back from court after the hung jury. It is a problem. And the defense isn't wrong in highlighting, Your Honor, we don't know what's in that bag. It's supposed to just be the casing, and there's all this other stuff. The witness is like, there's this. But that wasn't the only moment for this witness. It's not her fault, because those are not things that she did. She's just the witness on the stand that has to deal with it. Why do defense attorneys sometimes ask witnesses when it's not their job the question? Well, they want the jury to hear the question, and it doesn't really matter if the witness has an answer or not, or says that's outside my scope, because they want the jury to hear the question during that evidence coming in. And there was a lot of that with this witness. You don't know how the taillight got broken. You don't know how anything that was recovered from the car got recovered. You just showed up February 1st. You recovered what you recovered. You saw what you saw. You documented what you documented. You don't make any conclusions about that, etc. But then we got to the issue of the glass on the bumper. During direct, it was elicited that there were 2 stickers indicating where glass was recovered from. asked by Hank Brennan, and the witness agreed. Well, on cross, Alessi zoomed that photo up and said, "Are that 2 stickers? Or is that a reflection of the sticker on the bumper in the tailgate of the SUV?" And the witness said, "I can't be sure, but it could be a reflection." And after quite a bit of questioning where Alessi said, "Do you have a doubt about whether it's 2 stickers or it's a reflection?" She said, "It's possible that it's a reflection. It's possible that it's 2. And she said, but it doesn't matter to her, because she said everything that was on the bumper was taken off with tweezers and all put into one bag. And so with it all being put into one bag, she said, for me, whether it's 1 sticker or 2 stickers, I took everything and put it together. And so with putting everything together, I then had all of the pieces, whether or not I used 1 sticker or 2 sticker. And she said, sometimes I use 1, sometimes I use 2. It just depends. And she said she uses the stickers to indicate in the photographs where she's seeing things on the car. I thought, okay, interesting. That is a moment. And I think the lack of attention to detail is to the party that's holding the photos when asking the questions, which would be Brennan. Though this witness, it didn't seem that she referred back to her report about whether there was 2 stickers or not. When we got to asking about the apparent hair that was on and recovered from the SUV, Alessi went back and forth with photos that were actually side by side. And the question there was, in one photo, the hair looks like it is like a C shape, and the back of what would be the C shape is touching the vehicle. And in the other photo, it's a little bit more direct on. In those photos, I see the ends of what they are calling apparent hair, because we haven't gotten to the testing yet. I see the ends of the hair sticking up toward the camera in both photos, with the back of what would be the C shape touching the car. But I can see when looking at those photos, how you could look at it and say, it looks like the ends are touching the vehicle in one photo and away from the vehicle in the other photo. But with the 2 different angles of the photos, it is hard to tell. And the insinuation that the defense was making through their questions were, did it move? Was it facing where the ends of the hair were touching the vehicle in one and away from the vehicle in the other? And they were in that line of cross-examination when we ended for the day. At the end of the day, does it matter what it is or what it is perceived as by the jury? With the hair on the vehicle, I think there's a big question of, how is it still there after all the snow melted? But whose hair it is, unless it is like a dog hair or something, I don't know if it is helpful or not. Because if it's John O'Keefe's hair, he interacted with that vehicle a lot, and that vehicle was parked at his home frequently. I think the bigger point for the defense is how it got there, how it stayed there, and did it move when the photos were being taken? With any swabbing for DNA on the taillight, in the taillight casing, the entire casing was swabbed. And it seemed that she was pretty clear that not just the casing was swabbed, but it was only swabbed on the outside, not on the edges where the taillight was broken. And we also saw video from the Sallyport that we had not seen run before that shows snow actively melting and falling off of Karen Read's SUV. One of the questions the defense asked about it was, do you see the snow falling off the SUV hitting the bumper? She said, I wasn't looking at that, but the jury will be able to rewatch that back. The internet's probably going to go watch it back tonight. But at one point you could see the snow falling off of the back windshield, and it looked like to me hitting the crime scene tape, which was very close to the back bumper. With all of that going on January 29th and the snow actively melting and falling off the car, I think Alessi and his cross did a very good job of pointing out, hey, look at all these things going on with the car. And yet there's pieces of glass just sitting there on the bumper, or apparent glass. The scientific testing of the glass hasn't come in yet, but it will. So do I think we're going to do another day of scientific witnesses tomorrow? Probably. Am I hoping at this point that that is leading towards the Commonwealth bringing in their accident reconstructionist? Yes. But I'm wondering if that's going to be their last witness, their accident reconstructionist. And I'm beginning to wonder if that is the witness they're going to end on, and they're going to do these experts and then their medical experts, and then the accident reconstructionist last. I'm thinking that that's where we're headed with that. Thanks for joining me. If you enjoyed this episode and don't want to miss updates on your favorite cases, you're going to need the Law Nerd app at lawnerd.app.com. That way you can stay in the loop on the cases that matter most to you, and you never know when you're going to catch feelings for a new case. So make sure you get it for free on iOS and Android. Thank you for being here, and thank you for being a Law Nerd.